Hey everyone, this is Jamie for RC Logger, and today I'm really excited to bring to you the latest release of our EYEControl app. This is going to work hand in hand with our version 2.0 release for the NovaX 350, and I know many of you are excited and have been anticipating this release as it brings a lot of new features and functions to the NovaX 350. The main one being the task point command system. And so now you have the ability to fly your NovaX 350 autonomously, and also can make a lot of adjustments and set a lot of settings to each one of those flight path points. So we're really excited about that, but there's also some other great features in here that we're going to go over as well. Something I do want to mention, if you have not watched any videos yet on the EyeControl app and you're looking for a video that shows you how to use all the original features and functions, such as doing the calibration procedures and the pairing with your NovaX 350, then please look in the description down below, and there'll be a link that will take you to that video that shows you how to use all of that in order to get your NovaX 350 set up. But for this video, we're going to show the latest functions and features that have been added and go over those. So let's just dig right into it. So let's go ahead and tap on the NovaX EyeControl app. When we tap on that, you'll see it brings us into our home screen, which most of you are familiar with. You'll see there's a new tab that's been added, the task point, but we'll get to that here in a bit. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our pairing menu. So let's click on this, and you'll see our NovaX 350 comes up. Mine's powered up and ready to go. The thing that I want to remind you is if it doesn't show up in this menu, you might need to hold your right stick over and up into the right hand corner for about 10 seconds just to reinitialize that pairing procedure, since the app is freshly downloaded. So if you don't see it, give that a try and you should be good to go. We're going to go and select this, and we'll go into initialization here. And next we'll also see our name down at the bottom, NovaX 350, and the firmware version. I want to remind you as well, this is a great time to go and download firmware version 2.0 for your NovaX 350 and get that installed, because you will need that for all these new features to work. So let's go ahead now. We're going to skip over calibration because there's nothing new there, but we are going to go into the flight control menu, and in here you'll find two new tabs, and we're just going to scroll down once we're done loading. And here you'll see these two new implementations. The first one is Update Illumination Kit Firmware, and the second is the AP lock setting. Let's go and look at Update Illumination Kit Firmware first. Updating your Illumination Kit is literally as simple as pressing this button. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to tap on it. And when we do that, number one, you're going to get a notification up top that says Update Firmware in Progress. Also, too, though, your unit is going to begin to flash rapidly, and that lets you know there's communication and the firmware update is taking place. At the end of this, then your unit will go solid and go out for a moment, and then the LEDs will come back on solid to whatever the last setting was. So this is fantastic, because now whatever the last setting was for your illumination kit is, then when you power down the unit and you power it back up, it will save those settings and will hold that, and your lights will immediately be on, showing that same exact illumination setup. The next tab we're going to look at is the AP lock setting, or aerial photography lock setting. I know that many have asked the ability to be able to turn that off when the gimbal is connected, and so we have incorporated that into this latest release. Now, I do want to say that I really believe that the aerial photography setup that we have incorporated into the NovaX 350 with the gimbal attached is going to give you the best results for aerial photography and aerial video in terms of the smoothness and everything when you're trying to get that right shot. However, we do understand that there will be times that you might want the unit to be faster, depending upon what it is that you're trying to shoot. And so we wanted to be able to turn that off. And so it's really as simple as literally tapping the button. So we're just going to tap the Enable tab down in the right hand corner, and it will say loading, and then it will go to disabled, and now you can see your unit is disabled in AP lock setting, which means you can now fly in all three flight modes, and you can switch between those, and you are not only stuck in the air photography flight mode only. To re-engage it, it's as simple as pressing the button again, let it load, and now you're back to being enabled. So that completes the showcasing of these two new implementations in the flight control settings. So let's go back to our home screen, and we're going to now start talking about TaskPoint. TaskPoint command system is our fully autonomous flying, and I know that many of you have been looking forward to it. We're really excited to release it. You can go in there and you can begin to look around, but let me preface that by saying that you will not be able to use TaskPoint until you're actually paired with your new data link module. So being paired to the NovaX 350 will not allow you to use TaskPoint command system. You'll need to actually be paired to the data link. So let's go through the procedure of how to pair to our data link rather than our NovaX 350. First thing you'll want to do is charge your data link module. You can do this using the supplied micro USB cable that came with your data link module. Once fully charged, it's now time for us to go through the pairing procedure. The first thing that we'll want to do is we'll want to take the data link module and we'll want to plug it into the back of our R8 transmitter. Once installed, ensure that your data link module is fully pushed in and all the way seated and fully secured. Now that we have that completed, our next step is to turn on our R8 transmitter. Now that your transmitter is on, let's go ahead and power up our NovaX 350 as well. Once it's fully powered, let's go now and set up our data link module to get into pairing mode to pair with our EYEControl app. What we're going to do is we're going to take the button that is on the data link module and we're going to press it and hold it. At one point you'll notice a red light that comes on. Do not release the button at that point. Continue to hold the button down until you get a alternating red and blue flash on your data link module. This informs you that you are in pairing mode, and at this point you should be able to go to the pairing menu and see the data link module show up in your EyeControl app. So now that we're in pairing mode with our data link module, let's go to the pairing menu on our EyeControl app. Here you will now see that there are actually two options. There's your NovaX 350 and then your data link module. We're going to go ahead and select our data link now. Upon selecting this, at the bottom you'll see it says data link and also initialization. And what's going to happen is it's immediately going to go actually directly into the TaskPoint tab automatically. The reason being for this is because right now you can't make any changes such as to the Illumination kit or to be able to perform any calibrations because you're not connected to your NovaX 350, you're connected to your data link. So if you want to do any of those things, you'll need to go back out of here to the main menu and reconnect to your NovaX 350. So here we are. Here's our first look at the new TaskPoint command system. And you can see that we have a location already set up. So let's take a look at all the functions and features that are found in here. So let's first look at the telemetry data that you'll find at the very top of the screen. And what you'll see there is if you're used to using the telemetry data on your R8 transmitter, then you'll see something that looks very familiar to you, and that is all the data that you normally see on those screens. Here you'll see it across the top so that you can view that and keep an eye on all the important information of your NovaX. The first thing that you'll see in the top left hand corner is you'll see a little satellite icon, and this tells you how many satellites you're locked in on. There's two numbers because we use dual global positioning system, and so you can see how many satellites you're connected to for each system. Next to that you'll see the battery icon, which is your onboard LiPo of the NovaX 350, and it tells you what your voltage is. It's a great way to keep an eye on where you're at in your flight and if it's time to start heading back home. Next to that you'll see how strong or how good your global positioning system lock is. And this is, you want to keep a low number here because that means you have a better lock. Usually outdoors you'll see anywhere from 0 to a range of about 2, which is fine. That's what you want to see when you're flying. And one next to that is your current speed, and this will tell you the speed of your unit when it's flying to the next location. It will give you that speed. The next one after that is the max speed. And the max speed in meters per second. So every time you hit a new max speed during your flight, that would be recorded there, and you can see at the very end what that is. The next one to that is the distance between you and the NovaX 350. So wherever your smart device is, wherever your data link is, all that right there on you, then that is the location or the distance between you and the NovaX 350. The one following that right now is showing the same number, but if you were to set a task point, then it will show what the distance is from the NovaX 350 to that point. So as it's traveling, it will show you the detail as it's getting closer and closer to that point. Following that, then we have the flight mode that you're in, whether it be GPS or altitude, height, hold, or normal. Right now you can see we're in GPS, and then following that is the flight bank, which right now is aerial photography AP mode. And so there's all of your pertinent information right there for your telemetry. Let's move on to the next thing. Here we're going to look at the right hand side of the screen, and here you'll see a couple of different icons. Let's start at the very top, and you'll see a bullseye pattern with an arrow pointing up. This is your auto takeoff feature, and the way this works is, in order to use this, is first you have to arm your motors. Once the motors are armed, you'll be able to press this button, and then you'll be able to choose a predetermined height, and then you can hit confirm, and at that point the unit will auto take off and come up to that predetermined height and hover at that place. The next icon below that is your return to home, which many of you are familiar with using. And so if you press that button, then the unit will return to home. The icons below that is, you'll see a drone icon. That is, if you tap on that, it will bring you to the location of your NovaX 350. And then the icon below that is your smartphone or smart device, and it will bring you to the location of that as well. And so you'll be able to see all that in live time on the screen. Let's move on now to our menus. So the next section we're going to look at, you'll see a red bar that says motor not armed. And you'll see that there is a menu that if you can tap on it, it will bring up a couple of other options as well. First is the back button, which will take you back to your home screen of your EYEControl app. The next one is Save Journey. Once you have completed a task point, you can save that journey, and we'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. It will automatically pop up at the end of any task point and ask you if you want to save the journey, and you can label it however you would like, and you can save that. The next one is Load Journey. If you have saved a journey that you'd like to take once again, then you can choose that button, and it will allow you to bring up all the journeys that you've saved, and you can upload any of them and you're ready to go. The next one is Set Earth Map View, and as you can see right now we are in the Earth Map View, and that will be probably used almost always by everyone, but we do also have a Terrain Map View as well if you're interested in ever using it. Here's an example of how it looks, and now we're just going to go back to our Earth Map View as well. So that gives you that, and then the last one you'll see there is Report. That one will not be there at release time. That is something we've been using for testing, so I just want to share that with you so that you're not confused as why you're not seeing it on your screen. So now let's go on to the functions of single point and multi-point task points. So our final thing is the actual task points themselves. And here on the left-hand side of the screen below what we just went over, you can see that there are a couple of options showing your task points, and then there's also your play button to begin the task point flying, a pause button, and stop. You can also at any point give input on your transmitter, and you can take over manually that way as well. So let's look at the task points. Let's first tap on the very first icon, and here you're given two options. You can either choose a single task point or you can choose multiple task points. For now, let's choose a single point, and we'll just throw one on the map to show you what it looks like. And then what options you're given is you can, below that first icon, you can tap on the settings icon to that, and now you can choose the height that you want the NovaX 350 to fly up to, reaching that point, also the speed, and then the hold time as well. So all these are completely adjustable to the user to whatever they would like. It can go all the way up to 10 meters per second in speed, so it can actually move really fast in task point command. Also too, you can adjust the hold time as well. Upon that, you can also look at the orientation of the flight path, so you can choose which direction the NovaX is flying when it's flying to that point. So if you want to fly forward, facing forward while going in that direction, then you can see it's already highlighted there. But you can also choose the other four orientations for flying as well. And then the other thing is the tasks themselves. You can have the unit do nothing once it reaches that point, or once it reaches that point and comes to the hold time, then it can do a 360 rotation clockwise or counterclockwise as well. And we will be adding more things throughout time that it can do in those areas. So anyway, that's the first look at a first task point. What we can do is we can close out of here, and let's go ahead and choose multiple task point now. And here you can see we can choose multiple locations for the unit to fly, and we can really add quite a few. Now let's say we put one where we didn't actually want it. There's two options here. Let's say that number 6 wasn't where we wanted it. We can tap down here at the lower portion where it will bring up the same settings that we had for the single point, and you can do the trash can here, and that will get rid of the task point. Let's add the 6th one back. Another thing you can do is you can hold down on that point and it will shift and move everything else out the way, and you can then move that point to whatever location that you want. So there you go, showcasing the ways that you can either get rid of it or you can adjust it. Then once again in here we can choose our height, our speed, and also our hold time, the direction it's going to fly, and if we want it to do anything once it reaches that point. So each one of these can be customized to your liking. Another option that you'll see next to the trash can icon is one that will apply whatever settings you just made here to all of the other icons. So if we tap on that, we can confirm that, apply to all task points, and you'll see now that all the task points are exactly the same as that one. So that's pretty much it. Once we've done that, then we can close out of there. Then we're ready to go. All we need to do is we need to engage the motors, do the auto takeoff, and then hit the play button and it will begin to fly. I'm going to walk you through a very quick real-time flight of a single point. So at a later date we're going to release a more complete video of that, showcasing the actual flights and everything like that. But for now, since this is focused more on the app, I still want to showcase a single point for you so that you can see how it works in real-time action. So here we're going to show you just real quick how a single task point would work. I have my NovaX 350 in my front yard. Normally I always do flying out in big open fields when we're doing testing and things like that. However, I needed to have Wi-Fi to do the screen share so that you could see this in real time, and so that's why I'm doing this in my front yard. You can see my NovaX 350 is sitting there and in location, and what we're going to do now is just choose a single point. So we're going to choose that and press the button there, and now we are able to select a single point. So we're just going to tap on the screen, and as you can see, a single point has been set. And now we're going to go to the settings. I've already set these to where I want them. I've got it to 5 meters for altitude, a velocity of 2 meters per second, hold time of 4 seconds. It's going to travel in the direction of the point, and then also do a 360 clockwise rotation at that point. So we can go ahead and close out of that. So the next thing is just arming the motors with our transmitter. And as you can see, it's saying now that it's ready on the ground. And the next thing is choosing the auto takeoff button. At this point, it will give us the option of how high we want the unit to rise before coming to a hover. You can adjust this quite vastly, but we're just going to set it to 1 meter for 3 feet, roughly 3 feet. Upon hitting confirm, then the unit will take off from that point and will come into a hover once it's reached 3 feet. So you can see it doing that there and giving you those notifications. And now all we have to simply do is hit the play button, and at that point the unit will take off and begin to fly into the direction of the task point. Once it's reached this point, then it will come to a hover and it will begin to do the 360-degree rotation that we had set it to do. Also, you can note too as well the yellow icon, which means that your home point is marked there. And so once it's completed that, then it will hover in position there. The next thing we are going to do is return to home. So we're just going to press the return to home button, and at that point you'll see that we're getting notification. I have my unit set up to face the position of the home point before doing that, so you can see that it's moving in real time and it's climbing and then going to return to home. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That covers at least your first basic point. And I hope that through all the details that we've given in looking over the app, you can see how the functions of the telemetry and the T.P.C.S work. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us at rclogger.com.